Hello, everyone. We're gonna do a little bit of like a tough, tough but gentle love channeled message here. We're gonna be using the whole deck, almost like a little speech being made by your higher self. So stick around if you feel called, if you don't feel like you're in the right place for a little bit more of a tough love message, save it and come back later because it is gonna be not mean, but direct. Like if your higher self was like, hey, I'm not using a filter on this one. If you are ready for it, here it is. Okay. So we're going to start off here. The light's not on, it's the light from above. Okay. So interesting. We're the light that you're seeking externally, you're not going to find where you're looking for it. You're only going to find it when you flip focus and start looking within. Because there are certain emotions that you're avoiding right now, but those emotions are the only key that opens the door you're trying to open. The portal. If the door that you're trying to open externally is a manifestation of the internal portal, like this door only opens externally if internally I can get this portal to open. And in the blueprint, I describe all the chakras like energy centers. So, which chakra of yours right now is not spinning because you're not feeling the emotions associated with it? Ace of Wands, your solar plexus, your fire, your creativity, your passion. Why did you get disconnected from your passion? Knight of Cups, because you were not loving yourself in the way that you needed to. In which ways were you not loving yourself? Boundaries protect you. Walls close you in. It feels like you were resistant to certain experiences that you needed to have in order to heal the wound that was underneath the surface. So there was a bit of vulnerability resistance, so much so externally that you started to resist this within yourself as well. Because there was some kind of decision that after you made this decision, things weren't going to be able to be the same. And for a little while, maybe still now, leaving that comfort zone frightens you. So you defend yourself by just not leaving the comfort zone. See how like the cards moved and he's looking over at the walls? It's like you're guarding and protecting the walls that are at the same time what's responsible for holding you back right now. What do I mean by holding you back right now? You're avoiding facing something that's actually going to set you free. You already hold the key, but you've convinced yourself that you don't hold the key because moving forward blanks you, scares you. Specifically, like once you're seen as the version of you that you're ready to show up as, there's no going back to the old version of you that was a comfort zone. Those self-limiting beliefs or those behavioral patterns of the past version of you wouldn't make sense to the new version of you. So there's this resistance of sorts of leaving this comfort zone that's suffocating you, but at least you know what to expect. The environment of the home. I feel at home here. At least I know what to expect. What energy is your higher self coming through as with the tough love part of this? Truth, hope, truth and clarity. Yikes. All right. So the truth as it's told by your higher self. Your emotions are your teacher. and you are currently being taught how to master the emotion around allowing yourself to receive. Show me a card from your higher self about getting out of your own way. The star. You are that which you seek. You just have gotten comfortable standing in your own way, because if it's you standing in your own way, at least you can have control over when you get out of the way. But you just aren't getting out of your way. In what regard? Self-worth. Why? Because you don't feel worthy. Self-worth, why? Because you don't feel worthy. Why don't you feel worthy? Because you feel like you're behind. You feel like you move too slow. You feel like you should be further along by now. Why aren't you further along by now? You're right where you need to be. Very slow, very fast. Spirit doesn't operate by our time, AM, PM schedule. This is like you are right. Show me a card from your higher self. You are right where you are to get to where you need to be. The planning before the action. The world is in your hands. You are right where you are to get to where you need to be. The joy you're meant to find in the current lesson that feels stressful. You are learning about your intuition. You're learning about your higher self. You're learning how to trust your intuition. You're seeing the bad and the good and the good and the bad and learning about the balance between them all. You're this is whatever you're experiencing right now is quite literally your higher self leaving you breadcrumbs back to your higher self. What were the breadcrumbs? To show you that this is true for you, give me 5 breadcrumbs. Queen of Swords. Problem solving. Your problem solving ability under pressure has been tested. 10 of Wands in reverse. Your ability to recognize what's not yours to carry and learn how to put it down has been tested. Your ability to make decisions, even though you don't know what will result from your decisions, is being tested. Will you sit with the pain this time, or are you going to run away from it again? Because it's going to teach you something, but not if you won't listen to the lesson. Last one. I almost want to word this as your biggest lesson, or the one that you were most resistant to, or the one that was most recent. I feel like it may be different for everybody. The Lovers in reverse. Getting your heart broken. Getting your heart broken. What did heartbreak teach you? That some people aren't meant to be the entire story, but just a chapter. That you need to trust your intuition, even when you don't always have proof of what it's telling you. Fear becomes bigger the longer it goes unaddressed. And the fear regarding heartbreak for you has been, will I be strong enough to face loving and being abandoned? Will I be strong enough to face being abandoned? This entire chapter that we're referring to right now has been about, are you going to know that there's a risk of being abandoned and still open up your heart again after previous heartbreak? What did you need to learn to be able to overcome resistance? The Hierophant in reverse is a breaking of a commitment. So when commitments are broken, it doesn't mean that you're unworthy. When someone can't commit to you in the way that you want them to, it doesn't mean that you're unworthy. It's just trying to teach you that not everything you're offered is meant to be yours. And there's lessons in having things that could be yours and recognizing that just because they're available to you doesn't mean that they're meant to be yours. There's realignment in choices. Seven of Pentacles, planting a seed and watering it till it sprouts. There's realignment in this is what I want and I'm going to water it. Or this is what I want and it's not worth the effort to water because it's not for me. That was a big lesson here if this reading is for you. Because in the past, when that abandonment wound would be triggered, it would lead to impulsivity in just like tossing in your hat and being like, whatever happens, happens. I don't care. I'm not going to continue to do the best things for myself. I'm just going to be on autopilot and be in survival mode. I don't think you realize it, but something happened over the last 2 weeks that in the past would have sent you into a prolonged cycle of survival mode. And this time you didn't do that. Communication, fast movement. I am not going into the quicksand. I'm going to get the heck out of here. I'm going to climb this ladder to get out of here. Because you picked a goal. You had your eye on the target or eye on the prize. I'm not going in this quicksand because I'm going to heal it. I'm going to release it. I'm not going to carry this because once again, it wasn't your burden. It's like you recognize that you were still carrying a burden from a version of yourself that you had for a while outgrown. Walking away unfulfilled. I don't align with that version of myself anymore. Why am I carrying the burdens from it? Let me slice that off. Let me not do that anymore. I'm going to do rapid fire for the rest of the deck. The tough love message from your higher self now that I've said all that. Now looking forward, it's time to end what is not in alignment with your highest self. Imagine the current version of you is actually the highest self version of you, and the highest self version of you is the one with the controller now, making the choices. Yes, your higher self agrees. You have a lot of options in front of you. Be mindful of analysis paralysis. Something here requires action, not just continuous cycles of observance. Not being stuck in the past. It's going to require action. A freedom from mental restriction. So don't let your past fears keep you from taking action now. Don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Because if there's something that doesn't go your way, it's just because there's something better that's going to be taking its place. But sometimes things have to fall apart so that you can not have to repeat sometimes you have experiences that seem like it's the past resurfacing, but it's really just the past making itself known so that you have the opportunity to choose differently. How would you know that you're going to choose differently than the past if you didn't have the opportunity to choose the same or differently? So essentially, don't get frustrated when that happens. Temperance in reverse. It's a slight imbalance so that you can see you have risen above the restrictions of the past. So in closing, it's time for you to focus on who has to deal with the consequences of your choices and actions. If you have children, take them into consideration. If you have a spouse, sure, take them into consideration. But first and foremost, it needs to be you. It feels like this is the season to be a little bit more selfish because you've earned the right to hold the pen in your hand and actually write the chapter instead of being told what to write in the chapter. This may require breaking of long-standing foundations that can't hold the weight of what you're ready to build. This is you taking back your power. This is you finally addressing what's been swept under the rug, because it's the only way to get in that door. You are the key to the door. And the longer you resist releasing what you know needs to be released, it's not that bad things are going to happen. It's just that nothing is. It's like you'll be in a holding pattern until you realize that the reason you're being held back isn't because of you, but because of what you're entertaining or allowing. This is simply a breaking of, if you really believe that you're worthy and you no longer are in the energy of self-sabotaging because of a buried self-abandonment wound, then your choices will reflect that. So this is the energy of your higher self is like, hey, I want to give you something. I want to give you a gift. That person's in a coffin and it's in reverse. I want to bring you back to life. I want to give you a major piece of the puzzle of your passion, but I can't do it unless I know that you view yourself as worthy. And you can't just say it, you need to embody it. So all of the choices that you make cannot be from manipulation. You can't just say, okay, I feel like I'm worthy now, give me the prize. This is quite literally, you need to embody worthiness by not fighting against yourself, not standing in your own way in regard to your choices, not making choices for other people, being in alignment with your higher self. So that's all three people on that card, but this is one person and a statue, you and your higher self. Right now, it's you and your higher self on the team, and you need to not take into account those who don't have to deal with the consequences of your choices and actions, because it feels like there's something here that you're going to have to release that you want to grip onto because of the way that someone else feels in regard to this situation. But it feels like you're gripping onto something that can't come with you where you're going. You're gripping onto something that can't go with you where you're going. So in closing, the password here from your higher self and the key that you already hold: extreme isolation. Not just the hermit, but the hermit reversed. You need to go deep within yourself. And once you discover what needs to be let go of, then you take action. And that is the key to what comes next. Have a great weekend, everyone.